Zomaar een zware beklimming in de Vuelta. Ineens hoor je de Franse collega's helemaal uit hun dak gaan.
Christopher Froome qui s'envole maintenant. Christopher Froome qui s'envole pour aller chercher la victoire et le maillot de leader tout simplement.
Oui, tout peut arriver en fait, c'est assez incroyable. Impressionnant Froome quand même dans les parties les plus difficiles. Il est peut-être dans le passage à 19% exactement là. Et il va aller chercher la victoire et surtout les vainqueurs.
Het is voor het eerst dat de internationale wielerwereld meemaakt hoe een volkomen onbekende renner uit een non-wielerland zijn ruime eigenschappen aan ons laat zien. De renner van Team Sky is voor velen een onbekende. Een coureur zonder verhaal nog. Wat we wel van hem weten is dat hij uit een heel ver weggelegen land komt. Bij Christopher Froome hoort de vervoeging de renner die uit Kenia komt. Het is een middagje in de tropenzon. Froome en zijn partner Michel Count hebben zich overgegeven, eigenlijk uit generale interesse, aan een bezigheid die zwemmen met dolfijnen heet. Niet therapeutisch zoals voor anderen geldt, maar omdat Froome graag alles wil weten wat er rond hem gebeurt. Hij wil dit snappen.
I was born in Kenya and I lived there for the first 14 years of my life. And then I went down to school in South Africa. And did university there also before I came across to Europe to start cycling.
Why Kenya?
Why Kenya? My grandparents went there. They were coffee farmers.
Brits?
Yeah, British. Hence why I have a British passport and I'm racing as a British athlete. So I know I'm British. But obviously being born in Kenya and Africa, that connection is quite strong for me also.
Kenia voor ons betekent safaris in een groot Oost-Afrikaans land. Beesten die wij in dierentuinen tegenkomen lopen daar vrij rond. Kenia is safariland. Voor Froome is het zijn vaderland, zijn eigenlijke thuis. Het is een land met meer dan 40 miljoen inwoners. Een klein deel van hen is blank en vormt al sinds 1890 de hardwerkende Britse kern van een belangrijke bron van inkomsten, de duurzame landbouw. De jonge Chris Froome reed hier voor het eerst op een fiets.
It's hard work in Kenya because the roads are really not so great. They're very narrow and the drivers,
To put it mildly.
To put it mildly, and if the road is flat without any holes in, you're very lucky. But the thing is in Kenya, cyclists, bicycles don't belong on the road. They shouldn't be on the road, and a car won't slow down if there's a bicycle in front of them. So it's your job as a bike rider to get off the road and move for the car. So
that's your second nature?
So yeah, if I do any riding there, you're constantly looking over your shoulder every few minutes, or I found one of my best tactics was to get behind a big lorry or a truck and then just stay there all the time, and then you go at the same speed and therefore nobody has to overtake you. But
how do people look at you if you're on a bike?
No,
I mean, you're a big white kid in a black world riding a bike.
No, it's definitely not. It does turn a lot of heads and. Why is that guy wearing all tight clothing? It looks strange, looks very foreign to them, which I understand. You don't see people dressed like that in Kenya.
Van Kenia gaan we naar het jachtige leven van Johannesburg in Zuid-Afrika. Froome's tweede vaderland. Hij kwam hier als teenager aan.
It was a very big culture change. I don't think as big a culture change as coming to Europe. It's South Africa is obviously still African, but it's not. It was very different to Kenya.
But whose choice was it?
My father had moved to South Africa for work, and I think the schools were a lot better there. So it was a choice that my parents made for me to go to South Africa.
So it's a kind of middle school what you took over there, or?
That's right, yeah, like a middle school, and then I went on to do economics in university.
Okay, and that was in Randfontein?
In Johannesburg.
Yeah, in Joburg.
Yeah.
And you finished your school?
I did 2 years of the economics course and then I came over to Europe, so I didn't finish.
Nog zo'n blinde vlek in onze kennis van de fietsende wereld. In Zuid-Afrika bestaat een groot leger aan gezond fietsende mensen. Weliswaar een veelal blanke sport, maar een booming sport.
Training is really quite good there.
Explain.
It's if you're actually in the center of the city, it's obviously not great. It's like any city. It's not good for riding bikes. But as soon as you're maybe 30 minutes outside, then you have good, or you know of good roads.
Good roads, ideal weather.
Good roads, ideal weather, and also the fact that you're nearly at 1,700 meters there. So I think for the preparation for base training, it's a really good place to be.
Weer een verhuizing. Na een korte tijd België vestigt de jonge en nog totaal onbekende Froome zich in Toscane. Steve Cummings en Massimiliano Sciandri zijn zijn buren. Hij wil een echte profrenner worden en is lid van de Konica Minolta-ploeg, een Zuid-Afrikaans team. Even een stop, want ook voor de Afrikaan Froome kunnen andere tropen wel eens te heftig zijn. Hij denkt na en dan gaat hij verder in zijn verhaal over Konica Minolta, de ploeg van toen.
That was the team that first offered me the chance to come over to Europe to live in Belgium for 6 months.
Yeah.
So that was when I stopped my studies. I came to Belgium with Konica Minolta. I spent 6 months with them and also a few months with the UCI school in Egel.
In Switzerland?
In Switzerland, yeah. And between those two teams, I spent that year racing predominantly in Europe, and I got a few results.
What do you call results?
Results, I won a stage in the Giro di Regioni,
yeah.
And also second on another stage there, and a few...
All uphill?
All uphill finishes, yeah. And from there, I think that attracted, I think, a bit of attention from then at the time the manager of Barloworld, Team Barloworld, which was Claudio Corti, an Italian, who signed me up for the following year.
De naam Barloworld is gevallen. Het was een kleine, eigenlijk onbetekenende ploeg met wel weer kleurrijke renners. En deze mannen presenteerden zich ook plotseling in de Tour de France van 2008. Niemand wist wie deze zwaaiende renner was. En wat deed toch die vreemde landsnaam Kenia achter de naam Froome?
It was very strange for me being a neo-pro, and my first season was one I'll never forget. Starting off with all the Belgian classics, Amstel, Liège, Flèche, Paris-Roubaix even.
You did Paris-Roubaix?
Yeah, as a neo-pro. And then just a couple months later, straight into the Tour. So it was...
Okay, it's a dream come true, but...
Yeah, I think it was definitely an eye-opener for me at the time, to be straight into a race like the Tour. I think my only objective in that Tour was to finish, which I did, and I was really happy to do, because I think it showed me then, okay, this is what you want to do with your cycling. That's where you want to get to. And
first Tour, and I looked it up, 31st place to Alpe d'Huez.
Oh, okay.
Something to remember.
Yeah, I think
that was not a bad day for you.
My best day, I think, in that Tour was the final time trial.
Yeah.
Where I think I was 15th or 16th, somewhere around there.
Correct.
And that to me made me very happy.
Terug naar de toerdagen van toen en een wel zeer bijzondere actie.
Obviously I had a few South African teammates on that team. Robbie Hunter, Daryl Impey, John Lee Augustine.
En die Augustine maakte wereldnieuws in de zeer spectaculaire actie die hier gaat volgen. De dan al wat vermoeide Zuid-Afrikaan rijdt mede aan de leiding in deze afdaling. En dan, hij mist de bocht en gaat recht door. Als kijker hou je je hart vast. Wat gebeurt hier? En hoe groot is het gat? Froome kan dit, na jaren, vrij nuchter analyseren.
It is the Tour where he went over the mountain. Forgot to turn and just went straight down.
And you were rooming with him? But did he tell the story about that whole situation?
Yeah, he afterwards he said that he just switched off for a second, and next thing he knew there was a corner and it was too late for him to turn, and when he went over, the first thing he thought is, this is it. I'm gonna die here.
Bye-bye world.
Yeah, because all around there was really steep cliffs, and luckily where he went over was a little bit gradual, so he was able to climb back up. But I think initially he thought that was it.
Daarna kwam het moment dat en Barlow World stopte als wielerploeg en er eigenlijk voor geen enkele organisatie aanleiding was de renner Christopher Froome aan boord te nemen. Bij de Britse ploeg Team Sky lag evenwel een klein minimumcontractje klaar.
At the end of 2010, I was back home in Kenya visiting my family, and it was that time of year to do the UCI blood passport checks. So I went and had the tests done, and at the same time I said to the doctors, I haven't been great all year. Can we just check a full screening for anything? And they came back immediately and said, you have this parasite, or it's similar to a parasite, which is called bilharzia, something that's very common in Kenya, but not a lot of people know that they have it. It's something that you can't just wake up one day and say, yes, I've got bilharzia, I'm sick, these are the symptoms. It's something that, it's a small, like a larvae, like a worm, that lives attaches itself
And it weakens you.
To your system, and it feeds on the red blood cells.
Oh my.
So for an endurance athlete, it's terrible. How
you got rid of it?
I probably still haven't got rid of it. It's something every 6 months I have to go for checks, and for the last 6 months since then, every 6 months I've been repeating the treatment, which is just some small tablets that I take, and it's supposed to kill everything that's in there, and you feel a bit lousy for a few days, and then I can start training again.
Vanaf dat moment is Froome dus ook een profrenner die met een vervelende tropische ziekte rondrijdt. Weinigen weten daarvan, omdat de renner en de mens Froome wel erg in de schaduwzijde van de publiciteit blijven staan. Hij blijkt evenwel zeer goed te presteren op de Spaanse wegen. In de Vuelta van 2011 valt hij voor het eerst goed op. Hij mag de leiderstrui aantrekken. En dan komen, heel voorzichtig, de kleine verhaaltjes los. De internationale sportpers ontdekt Froome.
Maybe your immune system's always a little bit low, so as soon as I would find I had this repetitive cycle the whole time, that I'd get into really good condition, train hard for 3-4 weeks, and then I'd get sick. But not sick, just a small cold, just like a low immune system. And enough to keep me away from the bike for a few days, and then start again, and I'd start getting good, maybe get one result or get something, and then I'd get sick. So this whole pattern was happening the whole year, and I thought something's got to be wrong, and I was actually quite relieved to find out that I had this.
En dan komt er weer een verhuizing. Hij laat het Toscaanse land achter zich en gaat in Monaco wonen, vlakbij zijn Engels sprekende teamgenoot en vriend Richie Porte. Hij traint ook dagelijks op de beroemde Armstrongberg, de Col de Madone. En een seizoen later krijgt Team Sky een belangrijke renner in de ploeg. Wereldkampioen Mark Cavendish traint mee. Froome speelt dan derde viool, hoewel hij voelt aankomen dat hij in grote rondes echt kan gaan presteren. Er zit een topper aan te komen.
I'd like to think so. Something my coaches have always told me is that in training I've showed the numbers of somebody who can do really well in stage races and perform well at that level. But I was never able to transfer that performance in training into the races, and I think that was a combination of things. I think maybe tactical awareness was one thing, that maybe I was using my energy at the wrong time, always trying to go in the breakaways early, or for example, if there was a 10-kilometer climb to the finish, maybe I'd try attacking at the bottom of the climb instead of right at the last moment. And I think riding that 2011 Vuelta, where we had the objective of looking after Wiggins, that made me always control my efforts, that I would stay with him, and I found that I was just there.
Dan komt de Tour van 2012. Al tijdens de eerste etappe leidt Froome schade die later bepalend zal zijn voor de uitkomst van de ronde. Rechtsboven in beeld knokt Froome om secondenverlies te beperken, maar de schade loopt toch op. Hij verliest meer dan 1 minuut 20 op etappewinnaar Sagan en de andere klassementrenners.
That minute and a half was definitely hard to swallow.
Or was it a flat one?
A flat wheel, yeah. Just 10 k's from the finish of stage 2 when the racing was really fast. And
Nobody waited for you?
my teammate Richie Porte stopped with me. He's a good friend of mine from Monaco, and I think he understood how well I was going at the time, and he stopped to help me.
They gave you the wheel.
And gave me the wheel, and or tried to get me back into the peloton, but we still lost over a minute, nearly a minute and a half, I think.
Yeah.
Door dat verlies was Froome geketend aan de rol van chique helper voor kopman Bradley Wiggins. Froome sleepte als het ware Wiggins mee over de bergen. En toen de gele truidrager momenten van zwakte ging tonen, zag de hele wereld dat Froome zich in moest gaan houden. Wegrijden en aanvallen was geen optie en hij hoorde hoe het moest.
Did they yell stop, stop?
Yeah, I was told very quickly to stop and stay with Bradley, look after him, and take him all the way to the finish line.
How does that work into your mind?
It obviously it saddened me because I knew I could do better personally, but I think at the end of the day I had to remember that we were there for one purpose, and that was to get the yellow jersey with Bradley. And everything else needed to be on the side, and we had to fulfill our objectives.
En die objectieven waren dus duidelijk voor dit bijzondere wielerjaar 2012. Wiggins moest geel tot in Parijs brengen en Froome moest luisteren naar de stalorders.
Did it hurt you?
It was hard to do, but I mean I understand in a sport like cycling, it's teamwork is extremely important.
Did you make an appointment before? Did you make an appointment before the Tour de France that he was the go-to man?
Yes. It was always known before the tour that the whole team would be around him and riding around him. So I think that's just how it is in cycling, that we have to.
Isn't that itchy? Isn't that itchy that you feel yourself maybe the better man? I don't know whether you were the better man, but you feel yourself capable of being better than you are.
Yeah. No, definitely. It was something that wasn't easy to do, and I definitely I still have that desire now to win a tour.
Is it a burning desire?
I wouldn't say it's a burning desire, but it's something that I definitely want to set out to do within the next few years. I just hope that one day I'll have the opportunity, that the team is behind me 100%, the same way they were behind Bradley.
Dan barst de bom in het profwielrennen. De affaire Armstrong maakt duidelijk hoe de mores lagen in deze sport. Als daar nog de verhalen van Rabobank bijkomen, is de vraag aan Froome gerechtvaardigd hoe hij in deze affaire staat. Doping en Armstrong.
I think he's let everyone down. He's all his fans, anyone who's believed in him and who found a lot of joy from the tour. It's really disappointing now that whole era has been tainted, if you like.
And the whole cycling world has to fight back now.
Oh, the whole cycling world has to go back down to level zero and start again, and believing that hopefully now everyone's doing things right.
And you think that's going to happen?
I think how it is already, that cycling really is probably one of the cleanest sports in the world, just because of how it's policed. And
cynicals won't believe you.
No, I'm sure nobody will believe me, but I can very confidently say there's no way I could have come second in the Tour de France if doping still was as prevalent as it was 5-10 years ago.
Met deze nogal zware uitspraak beginnen we het wielerseizoen 2013. Christopher Froome zoekt het weer in een andere cultuur. Hij toont zijn klasse in de ronde van Oman en later op de Europese wegen wint hij veel. Criterium Internationaal, Romandie, Dauphiné. Hij lijkt klaar voor de grote Tour.
You feel yourself comfortable in the Tour de France?
Yeah, I think it's where I've strived to get to, and I think I've proved that I have the ability to be there. So I think I've earned that place, and I'd just love to be given that chance now to go for it.
The best is yet to come?
Hopefully. Like I said, I've got a lot of ambitions in cycling, and I hope that in the next few years I'll have the opportunity to go for them.
You love the sport?
I do. It's the reason I got into cycling, and as a youngster back in Kenya was pedaling around all the little dirt roads and tracks, I really love cycling.